Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here, this time reviewing on issue 4 of DC X Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, as we all know, DC X Sonic the Hedgehog is meant to feature the team up between the Justice League, like Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman and Green Lantern, and the cast from Sonic the Hedgehog, mainly Sonic, Knuckles, Amy, as well as Tails, in a sort of crossover storyline, and we're now on to issue 4. And the cover mainly has Batman taking on Metal Sonic, and let's get on with the story. It starts off how, after the events of the previous issues from 2 issues ago, we see how they managed to stop Darkseid, as well as stopping the Regina Rock. We see how Flash manages to gain a Chaos Emerald, and we see how after stopping Darkseid, they mainly put the Regina Rock out of commission, but they realise now the Chaos Emeralds are scattered, and the fact that Sonic, Tails, Amy and the others are now lost. So we kind of see how Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman have to go to different areas to find the other Chaos Emeralds in the Sonic dimension. We see how Blaze has to take on Stomper as well as Mad Harriet, and we see Blaze saying, "I don't know why you want it, but I will keep it safe from you till my last breath." "Then let's make it happen." But we kind of see how Wonder Woman stops Stomper as well as Mad Harriet. Just as they try to escape, Wonder Woman brings them to the ground, where the parademons start blasting at her. But we see Wonder Woman use her bracelets to deflect the sort of beams, as well as banging the parademons and Stomper and that together. And we see how, thanks to Blaze's efforts, they manage to kind of get the purple Chaos Emerald. We see how Batman is trying to take on Metal Sonic, and of course manages to try and take him down. And this does remind me a bit like Amazo with Batman, given the fact Amazo can study and analyze other superheroes, while Metal mainly kind of studies and analyzes Sonic. And after defeating Metal, gains another Chaos Emerald. And we see how in the whole Lost X world, we see how the Flash comes toe-to-toe with Baron Vermin, who says, "I have secured the treasure Lord Darkseid desperately desired, and with this acne polaric, I bent the resistant monsters to my will. Now go, my Daily Six, tear him to limb." And we see how Flash points out that he just mentioned everything about that conch, and this is where even he realizes, crap, I should have thought this better. And we see how Flash makes quick work of the Deadly Six, gain the conch back, and of course mainly leaves before Savage tries to take him on, and he says, "Stop, fight me, coward." He's as bad as Sonic. And we see how after leaving Lost Hex and that, we see how Flash is so amazed with Sonic's world, he wants to try everything around here. And we see how Eggman shows up with his whole fleet, and also, much like with Super Sonic, Eggman realizes that Superman is basically like Super Sonic, but as a Kryptonian, and makes quick work of his fleet. And of course, we see how Eggman tries to use the Eggman Emperor, but of course, Superman makes short work of it, and even Superman voices his disapproval of Eggman, and points out to him to give him the Chaos Emerald, and Eggman saying, "At least he used the elevator, and don't wreck my battleship. Oh, I hate Kryptonians," and gaining another Chaos Emerald. And we see how the Wisps try to take on Granny Goodness, and she says, "I suppose it can't be avoided, little darlings. Are you just beaming with energy? You can't help but act out, but your loving Granny will find a good use for that power by draining every last volt from your little bodies. And we see how Green Lantern shows up to come toe to toe with Granny Goodness. And we see how, thanks to the Wisp's power, they give Green Lantern a power boost, using every power of the Wisps, and even give them the Green Chaos Emerald as a thank you. And of course, due to John Stewart needing a boost, the Green Chaos Emerald gives him that. And we see how after getting everything planned out, hoping it's going to work, we see how the portal opens up. And we see Knuckles, Shadow, Silver, Tails, Amy and Sonic back in action, reuniting with the Justice League. And this is the story. So I feel like issue 4 is okay, but once again, it's quickly rushing a story, but not really using the other Sonic villains to go toe to toe with basically the Justice League, like Perfect Chaos, also basically like, say, like any of the other Sonic villains, because it just seems like they had to throw in Darkseid's forces, but not really using characters like Nephilis, maybe Surge or Kitsumi, or maybe like, say, Perfect Chaos and all that. It just seems like they was trying to scrape in what they could, and it's just kind of copying and reprinting the same issue from issue 3, just with the Justice League in the role of the Sonic characters being the Justice League. So it definitely deserves thumbs in the middle. Kind of alright, but kind of okay. So, comic book reviewer here, signing out.